Imagine this. The world awakens without a shadow of guilt. The air carries no weight of regret, no ache of fear. Every sunrise feels like the very first dawn of creation. No pain, no death, no distance between humanity and its creator. If Adam and Eve had never sinned, that bite that rewrote all of human history would have never taken place. There would be no trembling in the garden, no hiding behind trees, no voice of shame echoing through the heart of humankind. The bond between heaven and earth would have remained unbroken, pure, alive, and eternal. But let's pause there. We often think of Eden as a story that ended, but what if it was meant to continue? What if the garden was only the first chapter of what humanity was supposed to become? A world expanding in beauty, wisdom, and divine partnership. Without sin, the earth would still be under human stewardship, but not the corrupted kind we know. No greed, no destruction, no hunger. Adam and Eve were never meant to live idle lives in a paradise bubble. They were meant to create, to build, to extend Eden's perfection across the world. It's strange to think, isn't it? A world where every act of creation, planting, discovering, inventing, was an act of worship, where knowledge was not dangerous but sacred, where curiosity led not to rebellion but to revelation. In that world, every person would still walk with God, not through faith but through sight. No barriers, no need for prophets or preachers to remind us of who we are. We would know. Every heartbeat would echo the Creator's voice saying, "You are mine." And maybe that's the most haunting part of all, because when you imagine what could have been, you realize how far we've fallen. But it also reveals something deeper. The longing for that world is still written inside us. The ache we feel for peace, for justice, for wholeness, it's not new. It's ancient. It's the echo of Eden itself. That's where our story begins. Not with what was lost, but with the question, could that world ever be restored? Picture a world untouched by fear. Not the kind of peace that comes and goes like a passing storm, but a steady, eternal calm. Every creature, every sound of the wind, every rustle of the leaves would still sing in harmony with its maker. There would be no violence, not because it was forbidden, but because it would never even occur to anyone. The idea of harming another being simply wouldn't exist in the human heart. Our instincts, our desires, our curiosity, all of them would still be aligned with God's perfect design. Imagine families living without conflict, not because they were forced to love, but because love was the very air they breathed. Every relationship would be pure reflection, man to woman, parent to child, human to creation. No hidden motives, no jealousy, no fear of loss, and perhaps even more mysterious, there would be no religion, no altars, no rituals, no divisions about who's right or wrong. Worship would not be confined to a temple or a song. It would be as natural as breathing. Every moment of existence would be sacred. Knowledge, too, would be limitless. Adam and Eve were never forbidden from learning. They were forbidden from defining good and evil for themselves. That's a crucial difference. Without sin, humanity's pursuit of wisdom would have been a journey guided directly by God Himself. Discovery would never lead to destruction. Science would never threaten faith. It would deepen it. Think of it. The laws of nature, the mysteries of the stars, the intricacies of life, all of them explored not as tools for power, but as windows into God's mind. Every advancement would have revealed more of His beauty, not our pride. Death, of course, would be absent. No decay, no disease, no final breath. The body would never turn against the spirit. Time would pass, but it wouldn't destroy. It would only perfect. Humanity was not created to end. We were created to evolve within eternity. And yet, the world wouldn't be static or dull. Creation itself would still unfold, endless and alive. New lands, new creatures, new colors, perhaps even new dimensions of reality. A universe in constant bloom. This would be a world where the unknown wasn't feared. It was invited. Humanity would have explored the cosmos not to conquer it, but to uncover more of the Creator's imagination. It's hard to imagine such purity because we've never tasted it. But in our deepest desires, for connection, for peace, for meaning, we still crave that world. We're haunted by a memory we never lived, and yet somehow remember. That memory has a name, Eden. If sin had never entered, humanity would not have been static, frozen in the perfection of one moment. Perfection in God's design was never meant to mean stagnation. It meant potential fulfilled. Adam and Eve were never meant to simply tend a garden forever. Eden was the beginning, a seed, not the destination. Humanity's purpose was to expand that garden until the whole world became a reflection of heaven. Every generation would carry that mission further, to create, to nurture, to rule with wisdom and compassion. Think about that. The divine plan was for mankind to govern creation, not dominate it. Leadership, as God intended it, was not about control but about harmony. Every act of stewardship, planting, inventing, naming, discovering, was meant to mirror the Creator's own heart. In that unfallen world, work itself would have been an act of worship. No fatigue, no frustration. Every task would end in fulfillment, not exhaustion. Imagine finishing your day not drained, but renewed. You'd look at your creation, a vineyard, a song, a home, and feel God's delight echo within you. It is good. Art would flourish, not as an escape from pain, but as an expression of divine beauty. Music would still exist, but it wouldn't come from heartbreak or longing. Every sound would carry life. Every brushstroke would capture eternity. And humanity's unity, unbreakable. There would be no nations in conflict, no borders born of fear or greed. Cultures might differ, but diversity would enhance harmony, not divide it. Every human would be a unique reflection of the same creator. Many voices, one song. Even nature itself would mirror this peace. The lion wouldn't need to hunt. The soil wouldn't resist the farmer's hand. The earth would respond joyfully to care, because it was never meant to groan under corruption. And what of humanity's relationship with God? Imagine a love so constant, so unfiltered, that prayer wouldn't need words. You'd sense his presence not as a mystery to be solved, but as a rhythm within your own heartbeat. Every discovery, every thought, every act of kindness would be shared with him in real time. Humanity would have grown, not away from God, but into him. The image of God within us would have become clearer, brighter, generation after generation. The earth itself would have become a living reflection of divine order. No temples, no preachers, no need for redemption, because there was never a fall to recover from. Just endless progress in love, in knowledge, in glory. This was the destiny we forfeited the moment we reached for that forbidden fruit. Not just immortality, but partnership. We didn't just lose paradise. We lost purpose. And yet, maybe that's why our hearts still ache for meaning. We're not broken by accident. We're broken because we remember what wholeness was meant to feel like. Try to imagine a world where the very idea of evil simply doesn't exist. No temptation, no lies, no corruption whispering at the edges of the mind, not even the possibility of rebellion. If Adam and Eve had never sinned, the serpent's voice would have been silent, not by force but by irrelevance. Evil would have no soil to grow in. It would remain an unspoken concept, like a word that was never invented. Without sin, there would be no need for defense, no armies, no weapons, no fear of loss. The gates of Eden would have remained open, not guarded by flaming swords. Every creature, human, angelic, animal, would coexist in perfect harmony. Death would never have entered the story. Disease wouldn't exist because corruption of the body wouldn't either. The human body, perfectly sustained by divine order, would never decay. Aging wouldn't be a decline. It would be an unfolding, a deepening of wisdom and beauty. And imagine, no mourning, no tears shed over graves, no separation between souls. Families would never say goodbye. Love would never end. It would only deepen with time. Think, too, about how different human emotion would be. Without sin, emotions wouldn't vanish. They'd be purified. Anger would still exist, but only as righteous energy against disorder, never as hatred. Passion would burn, but it would never destroy. Sadness would be replaced by empathy. Longing replaced by fulfillment. Even nature itself would remain at peace. The earth wouldn't tremble with disaster, because creation wouldn't be under curse. Storms would nourish, not destroy. Fire would purify, not consume. Everything would work in harmony, perfectly balanced. Animals would live without fear of one another. The lion and the lamb truly would share the same field. The predator-prey cycle we see now wouldn't be necessary. Every life form would thrive without taking from another. And beyond the visible world, the spiritual realm would remain in perfect order. No fallen angels, no warfare in heaven, no dark dominion. The universe would be united under one song of praise. Every star, every galaxy, every breath would echo the same truth. God is good. It's hard for us to picture such purity because we live in a world where conflict feels natural, even inevitable. But in Eden's untouched reality, peace wasn't fragile. It was the very fabric of existence. And that's what makes the tragedy of the fall so deep. Evil didn't just appear, it was invited. Humanity didn't lose a rule, it lost a reality. Yet even as we look at what could have been, there's a flicker of hope hidden in this story. Because if the absence of evil once existed, maybe that same peace isn't entirely gone. Maybe it still lingers, in glimpses, in small acts of goodness, in the whisper of the soul that says, this isn't how it was meant to be. Let's pause for a moment and really think about love, not the version we know, scarred by fear, by loss, by the constant effort to hold on before it slips away. I mean love in its original, untouched form. If Adam and Eve had never sinned, love would never have known insecurity. There would be no jealousy, no betrayal, no fear of being forgotten. Every relationship would be grounded in truth, because deceit simply wouldn't exist. Love would not be something we fall into. It would be the atmosphere we live in. It wouldn't begin or end, it would just be. The way light exists because of the sun. The way warmth exists because of fire. Marriage, friendship, parenthood, all of it would be holy. Every bond would reflect the divine relationship between creator and creation. Husbands and wives wouldn't struggle to understand each other. Their hearts would move in sync because both would mirror the heart of God. Children would grow without the shadow of rebellion or pain. They'd inherit not trauma, not fear, but wisdom. Every new life would be born into a world that only knew peace. Imagine a generation that never had to unlearn brokenness. And yet, love wouldn't be mechanical or forced. Freedom would still exist, but a freedom that always chooses good because it recognizes no alternative. In that world, obedience wouldn't feel like submission. It would feel like harmony. Even between God and humanity, love would be intimate and visible. God wouldn't be distant, hidden behind mystery or doctrine. His presence would walk openly among people, seen, heard, embraced. No prayers unanswered. No silences mistaken for absence. Every person would live with an unshakable sense of belonging. You would know, not hope, not believe, but know that you are loved forever and without condition. And perhaps the most beautiful part, love would multiply endlessly, because it would never be spent healing wounds or fighting fear. It would have no limit. Every generation would love more deeply than the last. In that world, the phrase, "I love you," wouldn't just be emotion. It would be a creative act, a force that brings new beauty into existence. Love would build cities, paint skies, compose music. It would shape reality itself. That was the design. Humanity, made in the image of a God who is love, was meant to reflect that truth eternally. And when you think of it that way, you realize sin didn't just corrupt behavior. It fractured love. The moment we turned away, we didn't just lose perfection. We lost the ability to love the way we were meant to. But here's the wonder hidden in the story. Every time we love selflessly, every time we forgive, every time we create beauty instead of destruction, we echo that original world. We remember Eden, even if we've never seen it. If sin had never entered, humanity's journey wouldn't have ended in a static paradise. It would have continued expanding, forever moving closer to the infinite nature of God himself. Eden wasn't the finish line. It was the foundation. God's intention was never for humanity to remain confined to a single garden, but to spread life, order, and beauty across creation. Every generation would build upon the last, advancing in wisdom, creativity, and spiritual understanding. Picture a world where exploration itself is worship, where science and spirituality walk hand in hand. Every discovery, from the tiniest cell to the furthest star, would be a revelation of divine genius. There would be no conflict between faith and reason, because all knowledge would point back to the same source. Technology would have still existed, but not as a tool for dominance or greed. It would have been a continuation of creation, shaped by reverence and purpose. The human mind, untainted by selfish ambition, would design in harmony with divine intent. Imagine flight without pollution, invention without exploitation, advancement without destruction. Humanity's progress wouldn't divide, it would unite. Every step forward would lift all of creation with it. Imagine the collective wisdom of billions of minds, all connected not through competition, but through compassion. A civilization driven by curiosity and love rather than profit and power. And what about art? Can you imagine the music that would be born from souls untouched by sorrow? Not laments of pain or longing, but symphonies of joy, celebrations of discovery, of unity, of endless wonder. Every culture, every voice, every expression of creativity would add to the world's beauty, not fracture it. Diversity wouldn't cause division. It would complete the picture. Humanity's growth would mirror the nature of God, infinitely varied, yet perfectly whole. And even as humans expanded across creation, they'd remain in constant communion with the divine. No need for temples or intermediaries. God's presence would fill every space, every thought, every moment. The entire universe would become his dwelling place. Eternity, then, wouldn't mean stillness. It would mean becoming more alive, more aware, more radiant. Humanity would have grown endlessly in understanding, not to replace God, but to reflect him more perfectly. The world would have become a living tapestry of divine creativity, heaven and earth intertwined, each moment revealing more of God's infinite character. And perhaps that's what our hearts still yearn for, not just to survive or be forgiven, but to become, to grow into something greater than we are now. We still carry that blueprint inside us, the call to create, to discover, to connect, to love without fear. The fall interrupted that story, but it didn't erase it. The thread of eternity is still woven through the human soul. Now, let's step back and reflect. What can we learn by imagining a world where Adam and Eve never sinned? It's not just a fantasy. It's a mirror held up to our current reality. First, we see the cost of disobedience. Sin didn't merely bring rules. rules. It fractured everything: love, purpose, creativity, harmony. But by seeing what could have been, we also glimpse what God truly intended for you: life in abundance, joy without end, a world in which humanity flourishes in perfect alignment with its creator. Second, we understand the value of free will. Even in Eden, choice existed, but it was designed for life, not destruction. Our world, scarred as it is, reminds us how precious it is to choose wisely. Every act of kindness, every moment of selflessness, is a return to that original design. Third, we recognize that redemption is possible, even in a fallen world. While humanity didn't stay in Eden, the blueprint remains within us. Through love, creation, and communion with God, we echo the perfection we lost. Every step toward truth and harmony is a thread reconnecting us to that unbroken world. Finally, imagining a sinless world teaches us hope. Hope is not naive. It's a memory of what life was meant to be, a vision of what it can still become. Every act of justice, every act of creativity, every act of love, these are fragments of Eden we can reclaim. So when we ask ourselves, what if Adam and Eve had never sinned? We're not just entertaining a what if, we're uncovering the blueprint of human potential, a potential that still pulses within us, calling us to live differently, to create better, to love fully. Our world is broken, yes, but it is not meaningless. The story of what could have been whispers to us. There is still time to build, to grow, to reflect the divine. We may have fallen, but we are not beyond reaching back toward that original light. And in that, there is wonder. In that, there is purpose. In that, there is hope. Because perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: even in a fallen world, glimpses of Eden can guide us. And one day, in ways we may not yet understand, humanity may find its way back to the world that was always meant to be.